Welcome to another episode of the 1991 Week in Baseball. This is going to cover the games through April 26th. Let's see what's been going on. The last one I covered through April 16th, and I didn't really go over the games. This time I'm going to kind of go over day by day, just to kind of overview. And maybe point out a couple big games or big statistical outputs. So as you see here, Kansas City was still 8-0 at this time. They had beat Boston 9-2. California edged Oakland 2-1. Jim Abbott has been so far pretty sub 1 ERA. Here he allowed no runs on 3 hits, or one unearned run on 3 hits in 7 1/3 innings. Did not get the win though. Eichhorn got the win. Mike Moore took the loss as he went the distance, allowing 2 runs on 8 hits. They would score 1 in the bottom of the 8th to win it for the Angels. New York pounded out a big win, and they 1-8. Get their first win against the White Sox 10-4. Matt Noakes and Roberto Kelly each homered for the Yankees. Going to the 18th. I didn't really go over the National League games, did I? Houston beat Atlanta. Luis Gonzalez had a huge day, especially total bases wise. He had 2 triples and a home run. 4 for 5 total with 5 RBIs to lead Houston to the 10-2 win over Atlanta. Philadelphia beat Chicago. Montreal nips St. Louis. Jamie Moyer falls to 0-2 for the Redbirds. Expos get 5 2/3 of shutout baseball from, I'm not sure what his first name is, Sampin. Bill Sampin. And win 2-1. The Mets are blanked by Pittsburgh. Nothing real. Let's go to 18th. I'll be a little more just going over these games. Kansas City wins again. They go to 9-0. Pittsburgh's beat Chicago 8-1. Texas pounds out 20 hits and wins over Baltimore 18-5. Gino Petralli, Kevin Reamer had 2 home runs. Steve Buechele homered. Reamer and Petralli each had 4 hits and combined for 9 runs batted in. Texas opens a can of whoop-ass. Cal Ripken and Leo Gomez. I think it's Leo, isn't it? Yes, Leo Gomez, both homer for the Orioles. Toronto blanks Milwaukee behind Dave Stieb, who moves to 3-0 on the season with a 1.44 ERA. He's been He's been the one bright point for the Blue Jays so far. Kansas City wins again 15-9 over New York. In the National League, Cincinnati and Atlanta went 16 innings. And look at that 16th inning. Cincinnati scored 2 to go up on Atlanta, but Atlanta would score 4 in the bottom half to win it. Let's see how that happened. So this top of the 16th, Chris Sabo led off the inning with a double. Bill Duran singled him home, and then Eric Davis singled Duran home. That made it 6-6, or 8-6. I'm sorry. But Rob Dibble could not hold it. Jerry Willard would win the game with a walk-off 2-run shot after Jeff Blauser tied the game at 8 with a 2-run double. Wild ending in Atlanta. The Mets lose to Montreal in 11. Chicago whoops up on Pittsburgh. The Dodgers win in extra innings. Nolan Ryan had a big day for Texas as they blanked Baltimore. A day after winning 18-5, they put 10 more on the board. Win 10-0. Reamer with another big day. 3 hits, 3 RBIs. Rafael Palmeiro and Ruben Sierra each homered. As for pitching, Nolan Ryan went to 3-0. Struck out 13 batters and walked 6. Gave up just 5 hits for the Rangers, as they stay close to the top of the American League West. Milwaukee wins 1-0 behind Chris Basio's 4-hit shutout. He outduels Jimmy Key, who gave up just 1 run on 6 hits. Kansas City wins again. They move to 11-0. 2-1 victory over the Yankees. Tom Gordon picked up the win, pitching 8 shutout innings. Struck out 8. Jeff Montgomery picks up the save, even though he gave up a run in the 9th. Scott Sanderson falls to 0-3. He's off to a rough start for the Yankees. In the National League, Montreal wins 2-1 over the Mets. Frank Viola takes a loss. Nabholz gets the win. He moves to 1-2. He only went 6, gave up 1 run on 7 hits. Viola went 7, gave up 1 run on 2 hits. Pittsburgh blanks Chicago. Houston edges San Francisco. Randy Johnson had a strong outing against the Oakland A's. Strikes out 12. Gives up 2 runs on 3 hits. And the win over the Oakland A's, Johnson moves to 3-0. Ken Griffey Jr. belted 2 home runs to lead the offensive attack. That gives him 6 on the season. In the National League, Philadelphia blanks St. Louis. New York comes back with a 3-2 win over the Expos. Kevin Elster drove in a couple runs. Elster's off to a good start for the Expos, hitting .357 on the young season. David Cone gets the win. He goes to 1-1. Franco picks up his first save. Oil Can Boyd takes the loss. He falls to 0-3. On the 22nd, nothing. Kansas City wins again over Cleveland, 6-2 to move to 12-0. Look at that. George Brett had a couple hits. The Ribbies were all divided up. Gibson had an RBI. A couple hits from him. Kevin Napier goes to 3-0 with a 2.63 ERA. Charles Nagy takes the loss, and he's been getting just roughed up so far this early season. In the National League, Los Angeles beats Atlanta in 13 innings. Darryl Strawberry hit his third homer of the season. They'd win it on a Jose Gonzalez RBI double in the bottom of the 13th. Chicago beat St. Louis. On the 23rd, former Tiger Lance Parrish wins in the 14th inning. California would end up losing it, but in the 9th, Lance Parrish tied the game with a grand slam home run off Bill Kruger. Ken Griffey Jr. belted his 7th home run in the game, and Elvin Davis hit his second one in the 14th inning to give the Mariners the 8-6 lead, and they would hold on as is that Ryan Murphy? Rob Murphy, I'm sorry. Rob Murphy picked up the save. Baltimore-Chicago had a tight one. Baltimore edges the White Sox in 10 innings. Ozzie Guillen hit his first homer. Baltimore would score in the top half of the 10th as Leo Gomez singled a run home to give the White Sox a 2-1 victory. Cleveland beats Kansas City. That's Kansas City's first loss. And they took 13 innings to do it. Kansas City would tie the game in the 9th at 2. Brian McRae singled home Kurt Stillwell for the tying run, but in the bottom of the 13th, a wild pitch by Louis Aquino scores. Mike Huff with a game winner, and Cleveland wins it 3-2. In the National League, Atlanta's off to a rough start so far. They lose again to Los Angeles in 12 innings. The Mets pound the Philadelphia Phillies 15-0. Howard Johnson homered, Kevin McReynolds, and Hubie Brooks. Ron Darling picks up the win. Jason Grimsley takes the loss for the Phillies. Hubie Brooks ended up with 3 hits, 3 RBI. McReynolds had 3 hits. 14 hits in all for the New York Mets. April 24th. Chicago White Sox bats boomed 15-3 over the Baltimore Orioles. Carlton Fisk and Sammy Sosa each homered. Fisk ended up with 4 RBIs, 19 hits for the White Sox. The Big Hurt continues his hot hitting, 3 for 4 on the day. Sam Horn homered for the Baltimore Orioles. Oh, look at this one. A football game down at Metropolitan Stadium. I don't know what the... Minnesota, 24 hits. Wins at 20-9. Oakland must have picked up a safety. Look at these. Look at these stats. Chuck Knobloch, Kirby Puckett, and Gene Larkin all had 4 hits. Herbeck drove in 5 runs with a 3-run homer amongst his hits. Dan Gladden scored 4 times. They were having fun at the Dome here, the Metrodome. Harold Baines homered for the A's. They had 16 hits, so an offensive outburst by both teams. Dave Stewart actually started, and he got just roughed up for 6 runs in 3 innings. Jack Morris ended up with the win, even though he gave up 8 hits, or 8 runs on 15 hits. Surprisingly, looking at that game again, you'll see that Morris gave up 8 runs in 7 2/3 innings, and his ERA just went up to 4.45, so he had been pitching well. In the National League, Atlanta in extra innings beats the Dodgers 2-1. John Smoltz outpitches Mike Morgan, but Freeman gets the win in extra innings. They score in the top half of the 12th to pull it out. Deion Sanders lined a single to right. Blauser comes in to score with a go-ahead run, and the Braves hold on for the 2-1 win. Chicago and St. Louis. Chicago, the Cubs beat St. Louis 2-1. Mike Bilecki went 7 strong innings. Jose De Leon went 6, allowed 1 run, but it was the bullpens that decided it. Lee Smith took the loss, giving up a run in the 10th. Mark Grace singled home Jerome Walton, and the Cubs win it. Cubs move up to 7-9, 4th in the East. The 25th here. Will Clark. We'll come to that game in a minute. Nothing too overly. Chicago beats Cincinnati 10-4. San Francisco wins 8-3. Will Clark did homer with a grand slam in that game. Pittsburgh moves to 13-3 with a 3-2 win over Montreal, and the Mets beat Philadelphia. Mets are in last place in the East. And finally, the 26th. White Sox clubbed the Yankees 10-6. Kansas City blanks Boston 2-0 behind Mike Boddicker. He goes to 4-0. Kansas City starters, we'll look at it, but I think Boddicker, Apier, and Saberhagen are all like undefeated. Boddicker moves to 4-0 on the season with a 2-0 win. He goes 7 innings, allowed no runs on 6 hits. Walked 2, but struck out 6. Cleveland blanks Texas 1-0. In a pitcher's duel, Tom Candiotti's knuckler was working. He beats Ryan's first loss. Ryan did strike out 11. He only walked 2. 3-1 with a 1.47 ERA. But they pick up 1 run, and it was in the 8th inning. Jerry Brown singled, scoring Alex Cole, and that was enough for the Indians to pull this one out. Oakland edges California 5-4. Over the National League, Cincinnati blanks Chicago 8-0. Jose Rio continues his masterful work. He's off to a 3-0 start. His ERA is the lowest in the major leagues, 0.26. Struck out 11 Cubs, and they win it 8-0. Hal Morris hit his 3rd home run. Paul O'Neill belted his 2nd. Atlanta blanks Houston 3-0. Charlie Leibrandt goes to 3-0. Struck out 7 Astros. Jim DeShays takes the loss. He's 2-2 on the season. The Dodgers edged the Giants. Pittsburgh beats New York. San Diego edges Philadelphia. And St. Louis nips the Expos. So there you go. That catches us up. Let's look at some stats here real quick. Check out the leaderboard. In the American League, Frank Thomas continues to wield a hot bat. But Ken Griffey is coming up strong on some of these offensive categories. Griffey leads the league in runs scored. Look who's second. Rob Deere with 17. Total bases, it's Griffey. Travis Fryman from the Tigers is 8 doubles already. Kirk Gibson 4 triples. But we got a new home run leader. Griffey comes on strong late and now has 8 home runs. Frank Thomas and Rob Deere have 7. Thomas still leads with 22 runs batted in. As far as the pitching goes, Jim Abbott has been very strong starting out the season. Boddicker leads in wins. Jeff Montgomery from Kansas City has 6 saves already. Ryan, of course, leads in strikeouts. In the NL, John Kruk leads the National League with a 4.14 average so far. Fred McGriff has 8 home runs. Kevin Mitchell 7. Will Clark leads the league in RBI with 22. Pitching, as we talked about, Jose Rio. Zane Smith from Pittsburgh has 4 wins. Mitch Williams with 6 saves. I don't think there was any really new highlights. Any hitting streaks? Devon White has a 15-game hitting streak for Toronto. Gwynn had a 16 so far. That's the longest. Grand slams. There's been a lot of grand slams so far. Tigers got a few. 1, 2, 3. 3 grand slams for the Tigers alone. David Wells, we saw this one. Wells one hit the Tigers. Atlanta had a 1 hit against Houston. 3 pitcher. Charlie Leibrandt, Doug Sisk, and Juan Berenguer. The only hit came in the first inning. So we can look at some team summaries though. Let's look at the Tigers first. Tigers 9-6, 2.5 games up on Milwaukee. They are 7th in the AL in batting. A lot of good hitting going on early in the season. They are 1st in the American League and 2nd in the whole MLB in home runs. 3rd in ERA, which that won't last, I'm sure. And batting average against is 3rd as well. Lloyd Moseby is on the DL. He won't be back until May 7th. Batting leaders, Tony Phillips hitting .333, Cecil .333, and then Travis Fryman at .280. As we know, Rob Deere leads the team in homers and RBIs. And not many stolen bases going on here for the Tigers. I'm not sure why they have Tanana up here as is in the batting lineup, but kind of good. Tettleton's hitting only .208. Deere's down to .250. Kyler's still hitting .400. Starting staff: Gullickson 1 and 2. 4.58. Walt Terrell 2 and 2. Or I'm sorry, 2 and 1. This is the team's record when they start. Frank Tanana's 3 and 1. He's been there. He's been their one big starter so far. Mark Leiter and Scott Aldred have yet to make starts. Mike Henneman, he's off to, again, a rough start. He does have 1 save, 4.76 ERA. Gibson's been good. Jerry Dangleton's been good. Cerruti. The bullpen's been pretty good so far. That's probably what's really helping him. Again, that won't last. I want to take a look at let's take a look at some of the other I want to look at Kansas City. 14-1. They are off to a heck of a start. 290 batting average. That puts them third in the AL and fourth in Major League Baseball. On base percentage, they're in the top 5 in a lot of the offensive categories. Earned run average second with a 2.73, and the batting average against fourth. George Brett is on the DL right now. He won't be back until the 24th. Kevin Seitzer, same thing. So I'll be curious to see how their winning ways go here going forward. Mike McFarland tearing the cover off the ball, 422. Danny Tartabull off to a big start, 345. And Kurt Stillwell, of all people, 291. Tartabull's belted 4 home runs, so is McFarland. And runs batted in, McFarland leads the team with 13. Pitching, though, Storm Davis, 2.22, Apier, 2.63, and Boddicker, 3.67. Here's the starters. Yeah, see? Apier's 3-0, Boddicker's 4-0, and Saberhagen's 4-0. Excuse me. I don't know if Gubaza has made a start yet. Luis Aquino is 1-1 with a 3.00. The closer, he's been lights out, 6 saves, a 1.08 ERA. So they've been pretty tough in the early going. They're going to be seeing Detroit here soon. At home, they're going to have to face Tigers are going to have to face Saberhagen, Aquino, and Boddicker. That's coming up. Let's see who else we got. White Sox 10-4. Let's take a look at Chicago. White Sox 10-4. They're playing well right now. There's, Kansas City can't keep up that pace, so they're definitely. The AL West has been strong so far. Look at this batting average, first in all of baseball, 316 so far. Home runs third and fourth. Batting run average against 2 or second and sixth, but their earned run average is what's slowing them down right now. As far as their lineup goes, Tim Raines is hitting 328. Lance Johnson 278. Robin Ventura 304 with 3 home runs. Frank Thomas 519 with 7 home runs. Carlton Fisk 353 with 2 home runs. Dan Pasqua, of all people, hitting 412 with 3 home runs. Sosa 333 with 2 home runs. Ozzie Guillen 273 and Scott Flesher 200. As for their pitchers, Jack McDowell 2-2 with a 3.86. Alex Fernandez not been good so far. 1-2 with 11.85 ERA. Charlie Huff 1-0 with a 3.86. Greg Hibbard's is 2-0, and the team is 4-0 when he starts, but his ERA is ballooned up to 8.37. And Ramon Garcia has not yet made a start. Melito Perez, I know he started one against the Tigers and pitched really well. His ERA is 2.20. McDowell, Hibbard. So if their pitching can, because their batting average is going to fall, but their pitching can be better than this. So Chicago's got a good shot in the West, as long as Kansas City doesn't get too far ahead. Let's look at the National League. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Look at all these first here. Pittsburgh first in the NL in runs scored, fourth in Major League Baseball. First in runs against, fourth in Major League Baseball. So pitching has been good. Earned run average 2.50, first, second in the major leagues. Their whip is first in Major League Baseball, and the batting average against is fourth and fifth. Their batting average is 260, which is good for fourth in the NL and 12th in Major League Baseball. Bobby Bowe leading the way average-wise with a 354 average. Jay Bell 314. And Andy Van Slyke 250. Now this is impressive. His team is 14-3. First in the NL East Division. And Barry Bonds is hitting 156 with one home run. That tells you right now that they're bound to explode here. Gary Redus is struggling. Jay Bell has hit 4 home runs. He's kind of picked up the slack for Bonds while Bonds gets through his slump. Pitching wise, Drabek 1-2 with a 2.20 ERA. Zane Smith 4-0. A 1.00 ERA. John Smiley 2-0. Randy Tomlin 2-0, and Bob Walk 2-0. That starting pitching has been fantastic. Drabek's the only one who's lost, and he's still got a 2.20 ERA. Bullpen struggle a little bit some places, but curious to see if Barry Bonds can pick it up here soon and see what they can do. Philadelphia 10-7. Third in batting average in the National League, 264. Sixth in home runs with 13. Fifth in stolen bases. So it's John Kruk with 414 average. Lenny Dykstra's hitting 357 and Von Hayes 352. Kruk has belted 4 home runs. Charlie Hayes and Dickie Thon with 3. Von Hayes and Kruk tied for RBIs with 12. Lenny Dykstra has 8 stolen bases already. Darren Dalton struggling. Dale Murphy struggling. Pitching wise, Terry Mulholland 1-2 with a 5.40 ERA. Jose De Jesus is 2-0 with a 0.99 ERA. Tommy Green's 2-0 with a 4.42. Danny Cox and Bruce Ruffin have yet to get a start yet. Mitch Williams off to a quick start. He's got 6 saves already. Let's see who else we can look at here. The Reds in San Francisco. Reds first in stolen bases. Their earned run average of 3.60 is sixth in the NL. Batting average 282 is good for second in the NL. Runs scored 91 is good for fourth. Let's just look at the lineups here. Bill Duran 314. Chris Sabos 313 with 3 homers. Larkin's belted 3 homers and he's hitting 276. Eric Davis has yet to homer, but he's hitting 359. Paul O'Neill 279. Hal Morris 333. So that lineup's doing pretty good. Just got to get Davis going as far as power wise. Pitching wise, Tom Browning 2-1 with a 2.39. Jose Rio has been phenomenal, 3-0 with a 0.26 ERA. Jack Armstrong has struggled. He's 0-0. He's not had a decision yet. 6.59 ERA. Chris Hammond's 2-1 with a 5.63, and Scott Scudder is 0-1 with a 5.68. The bullpen, Dibble, 2.16 ERA. He's got 4 saves. Randy Myers, though, so far has been rough. Charlton, 2.50 ERA. So the Nasty Boys, 2 of the 3 are doing fairly well. They got to get Randy Myers going. He's 0-1. And then we'll check San Francisco. First in home runs in all of baseball with 31. We've got a couple of key pieces down. Scott Geraltz won't be back until May. Kurt Manwaring won't be back until late May. Robbie Thompson hitting .250. He's hit 4 home runs. Willie McGee is batting .315. Will Clark, .370 with 6 home runs. Kevin Mitchell, .266 with 7 home runs. And Matt Williams with .282 with 6 home runs. So that 3-4-5 in the lineup has been torrid for the San Francisco Giants. Well, the bottom of the order has struggled mightily. Kevin Bass, Steve Decker, and Mike Benjamin. Decker in there because of Manwaring's injury. Pitching wise, Buddy Black is 2-0 with a 2.25 ERA. John Burkett, 2-1 with a 3.09. Trevor Wilson has struggled. Don Robinson, 1-0. The bullpen, Righetti's only had 1 save so far. So there you have it. Detroit leads, is up down to a 9-6 after their hot start. Pittsburgh, 14-3. Kansas City is surprising in the AL West with a 14-1. And Cincinnati and San Francisco vying for that National League West. But the Dodgers, Padres, and Braves are still in the mix. Well, everybody's still in the mix right now, but the Braves are surprisingly only 6-8 on the season. So there you have it. That's the update for this week. We'll see you for this game. Bill Gullickson against David Wells. Last time David Wells pitched against the Tigers, he pitched a 1-hitter. This time he'll face Gullickson at the Sky Dome. We'll see you for that game next. Thanks for watching.